All right, folks, thank you for joining. This is John Henning over at the Franchise Radio Show, and today we're joined by Paul Dorsey, managing member over at Jantize. Thank you, Paul, for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you, John. I look forward to it. How can I help?
Oh, good deal. Well, I want to talk with you about the franchise today. Before we get into that, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about Paul Dorsey. Give us a little bit about your background. How did you get involved in the franchise? Just bring us through your involvement from a personal level. How did you get involved? And then kind of lead into where the company's at today with your involvement.
Sure. Thanks, John. And I guess I've made a statement, and there's a couple different videos and other radio shows and TV shows online. I'm sure you could look up under the YouTube and all that good stuff. But I think I was born a franchisor. And I was born I was born a franchisor because way back in Springfield, actually Wilbraham, Massachusetts, at the young age of 10, 12 years old, I had the largest paper route in New England at the time, where I delivered over 500 papers every day. Now, it wasn't just me and my dad in the back of the station wagon. I actually hired about 10 or 15 of my buddies to deliver 25 or 50 of those papers. Now, the Springfield Republican was paying me 10 cents a page, and I'd pay my buddies 5 cents.
Right. I love it.
So in that time, I always thought Ronald McDonald owned all those franchises and didn't know much about franchising at all. Lo and behold, I was hired in the industry by one of the large competitors, friendly competitors, where I learned all about the facility services. And when I was working with that competitor in a little town called Charlotte, North Carolina, I sold over $1 million of commercial cleaning services in 1 year.
Wow.
Because there's such a need for it. I never realized. I used to think there was elves that came in to dump the trash and to do all the things that would keep the facility services.
That is great. That's great. And so how did you get involved with Jantize, though? Like, what led you into being the franchisor with Jantize?
So, again, learning and understanding what a franchise really was and understanding the basics behind McDonald's and all the fast food chains and saying, aha, I could be a business owner. So I actually was the first master franchisor. We call them area developers for tax purposes, and I can go into those details at another time too. But I was one of the first area developers at Jantize America, where I bought the Charlotte market from Jerry Grabowski, who founded Jantize America way back in, I might have been still delivering papers back in 1998 out of Livonia, Michigan.
That's great. That's great. Now, the company itself, walk us through the premise of the company. Like, what's the intention of the franchise? What is it that Jantize really does, like, in a nutshell? Give us the 1-minute overview, and then I've got some specific questions for you here.
Sure, and I wish it could be that simple, and certainly try to give you my 30-second commercial. So I support and sell area developers, also known as master franchisors. Those master franchisors purchase major territories like Charlotte or Tampa or Chicago, and they have the rights to use our proven step-by-step system to sell and support the local unit franchisees. Now, the unit franchisees initially invest about $10,000, $20,000 with their local area developer. Don't get me wrong, there's rules, there's regulations, there's franchise disclosure documents. But in a nutshell, those unit franchisees are paying their local area developer an upfront commission for X amount of business. So the unit franchisee gives the area developer in Raleigh $10,000. The area developer in Raleigh then, with his sales and marketing experience, gives that unit franchisee $3,000 a month worth of new business or new customers to service. So it's a very unique, very, very unique tri-level franchise. Most franchises, McDonald's, you name it, is franchisor or franchisee. Very uniquely, and not a lot of franchisors do this, we have a area developer or master franchisor who works as a, for lack of better words, middle person to build within the territory. So my office in Charlotte takes care of all the billing, the credit, the collections, all those hassles and headaches. We have an online app we call JanView. Everybody can see everything on their phones. And then the area developers are sales and marketing machines. They're hiring sales guys, they're hiring inside salespeople, and they're closing deals. The unit franchisees who also have a vested interest are great operation or great customer service folks, and they're taking care of the end-use service or the end-use facility needs, commercial cleaning, janitorial, floor care, you name it, whatever goes on in the building.
You know, my very next question, Paul, was going to be, what is unique about your franchise? But, I mean, you literally just explained it. I don't know if there's another, and I've been doing this a long time in franchising, I don't know if there's another franchise out there that you do it that way. I can't even think of another type of business that does it. That's so unique that, I mean, so then let me ask you this question, because it's obviously going to be important. As far as the area developers go, who's your target franchise owner then? Because, you know, I was thinking initially, and I knew that you knew I knew this, but, you know, most folks might think, oh, I have to know cleaning to buy this franchise. It doesn't sound like that's the case for the area developer, right?
Exactly. So, and a lot of guys get pigeonholed because they don't understand the area developers. My candidates are looking for a business that's going to produce residual royalty revenues with unlimited growth, and it's actually recession or even pandemic resistance. It's business-to-business sales 101, working 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Maybe you only have to work till noon on Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
There's no nights, there's no weekends, there's no inventory. So we have a proven concept with very minimal risk for our area developers who begin to create residual income streams.
So what is
the area developer? Go ahead.
What is
the area developer is an executive level position.
And what are they doing on a daily basis? Like, what's a day in the life look like for them?
The day in the life of an area developer is he's in the office at, say, 8 o'clock. And again, even some of my area developers have hired regional managers, so they're not even coming into the office. But if the area developer is active in his territory or in his business, he's in the office at 8 o'clock. He's setting up with his team, inside sales and outside sales, setting up the schedule, making sure they're going out, do the day-to-day business of sales and marketing.
And then what would you say is the top misconception? I think I know the answer to this, but about the franchise. Like, oftentimes this is what folks will come to you and they think they know something about the business already. And then, you know, through you working with the company and your experience, you hear this from folks all the time. What can we dispel out there as a myth or a misconception in your business?
That cleaning is not a revenue source for my area developers. Mm-hmm. The area developer property has nothing to do with the cleaning, as if the guys who buy the McDonald's want to learn how to flip hamburgers.
That's a great analogy, right? No, I see exactly what you're saying, because your area developers are truly developing out the area with the individual unit operators then, right? That
is correct. So if I can jump up even to Robert Chess, who's been up in Raleigh, North Carolina. Robert Chess has actually sold 82 unit franchises in Raleigh, North Carolina. Again, remember, the average guys are coming in with $15,000, $20,000. You do the math. He's made almost $2 million on unit franchise sales.
Let's talk about why somebody should get into the industry of being, in this conversation, into the area development industry, right? It's very unique. I think you've already mentioned 2 or 3 really good points, but I want to put them together here. Why should somebody think about becoming an area developer?
They should think about becoming an area developer because it's focused on new business development. It's, as I mentioned, recession or pandemic proof. Mm-hmm. There's a low initial investment. The territories are only $75,000. You probably need another $50,000, $75,000 to get a small office and hire some sales guys to go out and knock on doors. Again, it's 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. My office takes care of all the back of the house billing, credits, collections. We have an app that's on the phone so they see all the customers. So again, the area developers are true sales machines.
You know, you used a phrase earlier too, Paul, that I really like being in franchising, because I know a lot of folks are out there looking for this, that executive level business too, right? They're not coming to be an area developer to go and clean businesses. They're going to be working with other people that want to start businesses. I really like that executive level phrasing too.
Sure. Sometimes we even call it the tombstone test. I mean, it's going to say in my tombstone, oh, Paul, you made $1 million and played some golf on the weekends at the club. Or again, I've got letters on the wall. I'm in the Greensboro office today, but in the Charlotte office, I have letters on the wall from Miss Parham and 20 other unit franchisees saying, "Hey, Paul, this is the best Christmas ever. I was making $20 an hour. Now I'm making $20,000 a month. Thanks for your help."
Yeah, because as an area developer, you are truly impacting not only the community from a business standpoint, but the individual lives of the folks that own those individual unit franchise owners or franchise locations or franchise businesses rather. I can see how you would definitely get that type of feedback over and over as you're truly altering folks' lives and trajectory for sure.
It's really exciting. Sure.
What kind of areas are you guys looking for out there? What are some hot areas? Where should you be talking to people at? If you had to pick 2 or 3 markets in the United States where you'd love to hear from somebody, where do you want to hear from folks from?
Football cities. So if they've got a football team, it would be a great territory for Jantize America.
I like it. Okay. Good deal.
Kind of simple as that. And certainly we're out of Charlotte, so to continue to grow throughout the Southeast, Florida. I mean, literally Florida's wide open. You could have Jacksonville, Tampa, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Naples, Miami, and 10, 12 territories just within Florida. But if we could focus on football cities, Cleveland, we're in negotiations with a couple of guys out of Cleveland as we speak. And I say football cities because the population works best if there's 1 million and more in population, because then we know there's going to be plenty of unit franchisees. There'll also be plenty of facilities for those unit franchisees to service.
Now, what does the due diligence process look like? I'm assuming you're not meeting up with somebody that's interested in showing them how to clean a bank, but what's the due diligence process look like? How does somebody learn about the area development opportunity with you? They're going to get on the phone. You're going to walk them through some information. How do you handle the education portion of the folks that want to be the area developer?
Sure. So again, and it's 2022, and there's all sorts of information on the World Wide Web and YouTube and our social media and all that great stuff. So let's review the opportunity. Let's make sure you qualify. Let's make sure they understand the big picture here as a Jantize area developer. There's a little questionnaire, again, who you are, what you believe. We've been doing online webinars now for the past 10 years where I consider myself more of an IT company sometimes than even a janitorial or a franchisor. So there's a webinar online. It takes 12 minutes to go over the different, and I think 8, 9 sources of reoccurring revenue as an area developer. I break it down with pie charts and all that stuff. Of course, John, you got to review the franchise disclosure document, whichever great state. Some states have some different rules and regulations. The franchise disclosure document is there to protect the potential area developers or unit franchisees. Ours is literally 150 pages because our area developer FDD also includes the unit franchise FDD that they'd be selling within their territories. Interview and set up a time to qualify with all of our other area developers, whether it's Robert in Raleigh or Guy in Greenville or Brian down in Sarasota. Certainly a time to visit any time in between. I'll come out and play a round of golf or hang out, or come to Charlotte where our office is actually inside of the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We can race some cars around the track and get to know each other, and then sit down and negotiate the terms of the franchise agreement and make the initial investment, and they're ready to go. Again, there's no build out. There's no fryers. We can have this done, with as quick as 14 days because that's some of the rules and regulations, or as long as it takes with your potential candidates.
So that's actually my very next question. Once I've gone through the due diligence and, we've decided to partner up on this thing, I'm ready to pay my franchise fee, and we select the area, I've learned it all, what I can learn, and I'm ready to go. Because there's no build out and there's not a ton to do, what's the initial startup look like as far as getting, quote, open? Am I going and finding a small office and hiring a sales team and then, rocking and rolling? What does the opening time frame look like, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. You're rock and rolling from day one. Feet on the street, feet on the street, feet on the street. We're out. You may need a small executive office that you could set up with a telephone, a desk, and a computer, one or two of those offices. As I mentioned, an inside salesperson working part-time, and they're the old-fashioned telemarketing, which is now email marketing, setting appointments up for your outside sales guys to go close the deals. The outside sales guys, again, are out knocking on doors, going in the chamber meetings. The average outside sales guys, without any experience, are bringing in, $3,000 a month per average. So, hey, let's hire 2 sales guys at the end of 12 months. I want you doing, at least 70, maybe close to $100,000 worth of monthly facility services. So, yes, it's a fast startup, and we're ready to go from day one.
That sounds like very fast and very turnkey, too. It seems like you've really got a system down, and a lot of folks say this, but I'm a firm believer on, systems and processes. That's one of the biggest, advantages of that franchise. They don't have to, keep getting it wrong until they get it right, right? You're going to walk them through everything they need to do and make sure that, you're helping them along the way. So it sounds like you guys are really involved in, getting them off to a good start. Would that be correct?
Absolutely. Even our office will set the first appointments for them to go see the customers. We'll set the first appointments for the unit franchisees to come in. We'll sit down and go through the process with them with both customer acquisition and unit franchise acquisition. And yes, as you mentioned, our system save yourself time, energy, and money. We have a step-by-step system for everything that we do. And I share that with all the unit franchisees and the area developers. And that's, of course, what makes Jantize so successful.
Paul, from an investment standpoint, you mentioned a couple different numbers there. I want to make sure we clarify. The area development fee is the fee that the area developer pays to you at headquarters for the rights to be able to operate in the area and sell individual units and then split those monies with you on that recurring revenue stream. What is that area development fee? Does that vary? Is it the same? Is it a flat fee by market? How does that work?
It's a flat fee by market, and that flat fee is $75,000. Okay.
And you mentioned that they needed just a little bit of working capital. It didn't seem like there was a ton that they needed to really get things going as well, too, right?
$50,000 just to make sure we can get through startup in the first 6 months.
Sure. Good deal. Well, I want you to go through. We talked about a lot of good stuff here, Paul, but I want to give you the last word here as we finish up. Just walk us through, we bounced around just a little bit, and you've provided us with a lot of good information. Just walk us through, why Jantize America? Why should somebody think about becoming an area developer? And just give us that, I'll give you the final word here at the end of the interview.
So why Jantize? As I mentioned earlier, 8 to 5, no nights, no weekends, executive level business-to-business services, residual reoccurring revenue streams, and, of course, mentoring and supporting other small business owners that so happen to be the area developers' local unit franchisees.
I love it, Paul. It sounds like anybody that's interested in all of those things should be reaching out to you and chatting with you. And how would somebody, what's the best way for folks to get a hold of you, Paul? You want them to call you, visit the website? How do you prefer to connect with folks?
Sure. Call me direct. My cell phone number is 704-449-3687. 704-449-3687.
All right, good deal. And we'll make sure to include that here on the webpage as well for you, Paul, too. All right?
Great.
Good deal. Well, folks, we're joined by Paul Dorsey, managing member over at Jantize America, franchisor. Paul, man, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, John.